Hello, my name is Cindy Gu, and today we will be talking about loops. Why do I like loops? Loops are very fun to play around with. In Python, they are basically lines of code being repeated a certain amount of time, or being repeated until something is met. It is very useful in games and making lines of code shorter. Without loops, there will be more lines of code. Loops make lines of code easier and better to read. I also use loops a lot as they make my code shorter and it's better to use than writing all the lines of code. These are some examples of loops like the infinity sign or the roller coaster loops. Different types of loops. For example, there are for loops, while loops, and nested loops. For loops, if you know how many loops you want to use the for loop. A for loop is when you need to do the same thing in a predetermined number of times. For example, let's try this example out. This prints hello 4 times as it is for I in range 4. So it repeats it 4 times. For I in range 6, print I. In this example, I is the int variable. It starts from 0 and goes up 1 each time to 5 because it never goes up to the number in range. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stops. If you wanted to start at 1, not 0, put it in 1, 4, and it will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you wanted to go adding 2 every time, add 1, 4, 2. This goes up 1, 3, 5. It goes up to 5 and adds 2 every time it goes up. I can also be a variable, it just has to be an integer. For loops can be used for tallying numbers, calculating the sum, and others. You can try to think of some too. While loops. While loop is a loop to test if your code expression is true. It repeats the code until it meets the criteria. For example, if you want a user to keep guessing a number until it gets it right, you can use a while loop. Let's try this example. This prints out 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as my number is 5, and it prints out my number each time, which goes from 5 minus 1, so 4 minus 1, 3 minus 1, 2 minus 1, 1. And it stops at 1 because it has to be greater than 0. This prints, yeah. Nested loops. A nested loop is basically a loop inside another loop. It can be useful when you wanted to repeat another loop a certain amount of time. For example, these are the Russian dolls, which goes from doll, inside a doll, inside a doll, inside a doll, inside a doll. This is an example. This prints hello 12 times, as the first loop is 3 times and the second loop is 4 times, which is 4 times 3 and that's 12. Thank you for listening.